Who told you what a strike is? Walden asked the photocopier. Probably my fault, said Marie. We're doing labor movements with the year 9. Not to worry, Walden said. Besides, arguably, it does work here. No consent on the school's part, no employment contract, but if they preferred the fairly benign imp to other potential inhabitants of the photocopier, and Walden did, then it was worth trying to keep it happy. Making arrangements with demons was the heart of her academic discipline, and keeping the school's wild magic problem under control was one of her core responsibilities as director of magic. She would have liked to have her coffee first. All right, she said to the photocopier. What are you striking for? Better working conditions? The demon said, blood! All our staff are entitled to sick leave, pension contributions, support from the Employee Assistance Program. Blood! Shrieked the photocopier. No representation without exsanguination. There were some chuckles from the crowd of teachers. No blood, said Walden firmly. A meal of human bodily fluids was the fastest possible way to turn a minor demonic possession into a major demonic problem. Would you accept a digestive biscuit? The fiery flecks of the purple eyes in the depths of the multi-purpose tray flickered. The imp said, with the air of deep cunning, chocolate.
All you people who have been emailing us about, how the rights of office supplies are a blind spot of ours, your quid's in this week.
Yeah.
What do they know? What does it Power of the union and the socialist dream. Everything I can need, oh I need, oh I need, oh I need, oh what does it Oh what does it Oh what does it Oh what does it Oh.
Welcome back to Workers Lit, your favorite podcast about photocopiers' rights, apparently, this week. We contain multitudes here on the show. Jacob's not in this week, unfortunately. He is quelling a strike among the printer, the scanner. All of his office stuff have unionized, so he's got to broker a deal with that.
Jacob has been subsumed into the demonic realm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty dicey in there. Like he'll find something to satisfy them with. It might even be blood, but
Yeah, blood, biscuits. I don't know what a digestive biscuit is, but I'm not British. Is it like it's a cookie, obviously, but is it for digestion? We don't have a British person on this podcast, so anyway, but we do have a guest. Our guest is Brandon Crilly, author and I guess community organizer. Is that what doing the thing that you do is? Brandon, please introduce yourself.
That's a very lofty title. Anytime I catch myself like calling myself a community organizer, I feel like that's a little too highfalutin. But hi, I'm Brandon Crilly. I'm a Canadian sci-fi and fantasy author and games writer. In the capital region of Canada, Ottawa, which no one outside of Canada has ever heard of. And
hey, I've heard of Ottawa. I've been there.
That's true. Okay, you're the small exception, which I appreciate.
I'm the weird person I'm the weird American who goes to Canada a lot and goes to Ottawa the most.
I think more people should. It was wild. I was hanging out. I was actually in the States like 2 weeks ago. For the first time in forever. And I was hanging with a couple of my American friends. And I challenged them, I don't know how we got on this, but I challenged them to name as many Canadian provinces and territories as they could. And they did so bad.
Me and Alice were able to get all of them between us.
Okay, that's pretty good. There's only 13 of them.
Yeah, I was about to say there's so few compared to 50 states here in America, right? It should be easy.
I don't think I could name every 50 state. If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't do it, probably. I would forget about Rhode Island.
That's what they said. It was the same thing. I was like, well, you can do all 50. And they were like, no, we can't. And I'm like, I can do all 50.
It just takes too long. Nobody's going to sit there and listen to you do it.
That's fair.
Yeah, listener, I met Brandon because I went to his personal science fiction conference, CanCon.
The only one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you were just there hanging with Amal, and then I basically was like, next year, please be a panelist, I think is how it went down.
Yes, Amal El-Motar, friend of the show. She's not come on yet, but I'm trying to get her. I have to have my people call her people.
Yeah, she's a little busy, but she's a delight.
Yes, yeah, we're really looking forward to having her on the pod. But yeah, this week we are doing The Incandescent by Emily Tesh, and Brandon brought us this book. Brandon, do you want to talk a little bit about what got you interested in this book and why you wanted to talk about it?
Yeah, so The Incandescent, it was recommended to me by a friend who got an advance copy. I forget how. But so they were talking about The Incandescent to me like 8 months or something before it came out. And it sounded amazing. Just the premise alone sounded amazing. And I was like, when can I read this book? And they were like, you have to wait. And I was like, that's not very fair.
That is so mean. Like, there's this really sick book, but you can't read it. Fuck you.
Yeah, I got to read it, but you can't. And I was like, great. But I think part of the reason why I kind of glommed onto this book is it's set at this magical school. Like it's yet another magical school book, but which I thought I was tired of. But it's set in this world where magic is real and everybody knows it's real and it's not a secret. And if you want to, you can go and study magic, or you can do something useful like become an engineer. And so it takes place at this private boarding school in the UK. And the main character in it is the director of magic. So it's very much from the teacher's perspective. And again, I'm a high school teacher by day. And right from, the excerpt says it all, but like right from page 1, I was like, this is the kind of the best example of what it's like to be a teacher in the 2020s, just with magic, that I've seen in an incredibly long time. And so, and at the time I was questioning whether I wanted to be a teacher anymore. And so this book landed. I finally got access to this book at the right time because I was like, oh, somebody gets it. Emily Tesh understands. I don't know if she was a teacher at some point, but I was like, it's too real and also delightful. So.
Yeah. I was tooling around on Goodreads and like Reddit, like just looking for people's sort of reactions, reviews to this book, and like some people were turned off with like the minutia of the filling out forms, adhering to like regulations, the steps involved in like discipline and establishing like school security. Some people were like really turned off by that, and I'm like, why? I love knowing how this shit works.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw
magic's concerned.
I saw an interview with her that was like half of the bad reviews that I read are people being like, oh, I really liked the first half with all like the teaching minutia, and then it sort of just bored me at the end. And then people are like, well, it's really exciting if you can get through the really boring shit at the beginning. So yeah, you can't make anybody happy.
No.
Yeah, but I had heard of this book, and I'd read Silver in the Wood and Drowned Country before. So I had read her novellas a couple years ago, I think during COVID. And I think we have mutual friends as well. I don't know Emily personally, but yeah, she seems cool. Lenore, have you had any Emily Tesh experience?
I hadn't heard of her until this book. This is well-trod territory on the show right now, but I learned so many new things on this show. I'm exposed to so many new authors and influences. I get in such ruts media-wise, otherwise.
No, I hear that. Like I'm the same way. Like I hadn't heard of Tesh at all up until this book. And so now I got to go back and read the novellas because I was like, this it's rare for me to come across an author that these days where I'm like, holy fuck, this is exactly the sort of book that I need. I think because I've read, like, you've been around long enough that you've read a shitload, and so it all kind of starts to, it takes a lot to hook me in. But I was like, this is exactly it.
I think also like when you're in the like industry, quote unquote, like I don't know, like the book world, you start like finding the trends in stuff, and you're like, everything is going to be like evil fae queen stepping on her boy in an ethical way. I don't know. Did you see that did you see the ethical romanticy thing? Like the drama from yesterday?
So I no, all I saw, because I dipped my toe into Blue Sky very briefly, but I shit you not, one of the few things that I saw yesterday was you commenting on the fact that there was a discourse. And I was like, that's all I
discourse. Yeah.
So no, what
Ethically
was this
sourced,
ethical
grass-fed,
romanticism?
fair trade romantasy. Yeah.
Yeah. They keep those authors in really clean cages and they let them out. They let them eat grass free range. Yeah, I think it was literally like the Library Association put out this like really like, as they kids say, I don't know if kids still say this, yikesy. I don't know if anybody still says that. Probably no. This very cringe thing of like ethical romantasy with only green flags, and everybody, and it had just a lot of like, oh, you degenerates kind of language, and it just did not sit well with a lot of people.
It's rewarmed like cozy fiction, right? Like,
yeah, which is, I mean, it's unfair, I feel like, to the authors who are on the list, because they didn't be asked to be put on this list. This is just some blog post somebody made, and a lot of the books on the list, like, I have heard are good books.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it just, you know, romantasy is bodice ripper stuff. So people are like, oh, this is dirty and bad. I guess it's bad to have your bodice ripped, I guess.
It's not like we've always had books that have that. It's not, because this is totally new. We've never had bodice ripper.
Yeah, my Catholic mom reads Outlander. Like, what are we talking about? I think that has like weird like rebirthing kink in it. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so let's get into. I have an Emily Tesh bio here, as usual. When our authors are one, still alive, and two, like contemporary, possible, like in the same cohort. We try not to go too deeply into like scouring Reddit for things about them. So this is just sort of like general overview. So it's not like with the last episode was on when we could talk about E&M Banks, because that motherfucker is dead.
That's true. He is.
So Emily Tesh grew up in London and attended Trinity College, Cambridge, and the University of Chicago. And she lives in Hertfordshire, and she's a classics teacher. So Brandon, yes, you were right. She definitely has teaching experience.
Nice.
Teaching like the most, like, I think probably the thing that is closest to magical theory, probably.
Yeah, I would say so. That's if I had done even the barest of Google searches, I would have found that out, and I didn't. So I'm glad you did.
Well, it's my job. So her first novella was published in 2020, Silver in the Wood, which is a retelling of the Green Man myth from English folklore, but make it gay. And there's a sequel to that called Drowned Country, and I believe she won a World Fantasy Award for Silver in the Wood. Mm-hmm. And it's astounding for like some big first author award that I should have written down, but I didn't.
I mean, it says Hugo on the back of the book I have in front of me, so maybe it was the Hugo.
Yeah. So her first novel was Some Desperate Glory in 2024, and I believe that is a space opera. I have not read that one, and that one won the Hugo in 2024.
Oh, that's been on my list for a minute.
Yeah. And she also has a podcast called 8 Days with Diana Wynne Jones.
What?
I don't know what it's about. Maybe it's about Diana Wynne Jones. I don't know. We should read some Diana Wynne Jones for the pod, actually. That would be fun.
She was Howl's Moving Castle, right?
Yeah, she wrote Howl's Moving Castle, which is a great book. Fantastic book.
Yeah.
I remember bouncing off of it pretty hard in middle school, but like I had also just seen the film.
It's
like,
really different.
It is very, very different. Like it's not the best Miyazaki, but it's my favorite.
Oh, me too. Exactly. I've said the exact same thing about Howl's Moving Castle. It is not the best one, but it is my favorite. Yeah. So I think I found her really interesting. Somebody asked her, so she's only ever written one sequel, and Drowned Country is not it is a sequel because it's about the same person, but it's like not very sequel-y. Mm-hmm. And she had something interesting to say about sequels that I wanted to read to you guys. And she said, I think you can write the same book twice. And quite often with the series demand, that is sort of what's being asked of you. Do it again and make it the same, but different. And it needs to be just as good, and it needs to both say something new and not completely break everything that came before it. This is an impossible request. How does anyone do this? Some stories are simply too large to be contained the spine of a commercially publishable book. I understand that you could not write, say, A Song of Ice and Fire in a single book, but A Game of Thrones as a single standalone book is one of my favorite fantasy novels of all time, and I do not feel that way about the whole series. There's no reason why a single book should have to be a complete unit in and of itself, except that I find it personally satisfying.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting because my dad is a science fiction writer, and he also has always refused to write sequels. And this is one of the reasons I think he probably never got that big, because like his publishers would be like, hey, people liked this book, write another one. And he's just like, nah,
fuck it.
I already said everything I have to say about these people.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because like this, I mean, in my estimation, like this book demands a sequel, right? There's so much that's set up about the world, and about the relationships in particular, which we'll get into. But like it does feel like it is self-contained. Yeah, it also feels very much like a volume 1, which is not to its detriment. It's just like there is such a richness. There is such a richness to the infrastructure of this world, in particular the magic system.
Interesting. See, I would have said the opposite. Like, I think like as much as I agree, like this is one of those worlds where, like clearly there's so much going on. Like they mentioned these allusions to this is what happened during the Second World War, and we did stuff with demons, and that was bad, and we'll never do it again. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. It's just this passing little reference. I'm like, no, tell me more about that. So I want to know more about the world. Sorry, say that again.
Well, that's what's interesting though. I sort of feel the opposite way, right? Because like so many books that deal in, okay, there is a parallel supernatural structure to the world that we know. So many books, like you stumble over like historical like lore nuggets, like, oh, this caused the like Halifax explosion, like that, like the Tunguska event was actually this, right? And I'm interested, like this book shies away from, not that there aren't magical explanations for various historical events. Not that you don't see, oh, like Isaac Newton was a wizard, but it is those things are very, very unobtrusive,
Yes.
And like the mundane world has its own thing going on. It is not merely acted on by the magical world, like in say Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, like magical beast movies where they're like Hitler was an evil wizard or whatever, like that shit, which is really like distasteful. Yeah, I feel like that if you're going to like weave magic into historical fiction, I feel like you have to either do the whole thing, like Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which is just like literally such good historical fantasy that I kept like feeling like I wanted to check if there was like a British tradition of magic that I just like forgot about, because like she like weaves it so well into like the Napoleonic Wars and stuff. But yeah, like I agree with you, Lenore. I thought that was interesting too. It wasn't like, David Bowie was a wizard or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, textually, right? World War I was like the last conflict where they openly like summoned demons on the battlefield, right? You have the sense that, okay, like magic had its place, but it's not waning, it's not going away, but there are also other forces in the world that are its equal, or that have their own niches. Yes, Sheila, I agree. Sorry, go on. I'm interrupting you.
Hello.
It's Sheila.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I, to your point about like sequels, though, like I think what I would rather see is like if Tesh wants to go along and write something else that's set in this world that's not a direct sequel, I'd be more into that. Because
it should be about Nick. I feel like if any sequel would have to be about Nikki.
Yeah, let's see what she gets up to, right?
Nikki, yeah, or like I don't know. I feel like Roz is such a complete character already. She's her story's kind of off screen, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah, the ex-wife, ex-girlfriend. Question mark? Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The other interview of hers that I thought was interesting was where she talks about the class elements in the book, and I wanted to read a little bit from that too. The question was, class is an important element in the Incandescent. Why did you choose to put the emphasis into inequalities from the base. And she says, you simply cannot write honestly or realistically about education without talking about class.
Yes.
This is especially true in England, and I do say England rather than Britain advisedly here. The different countries of the UK have different cultures on this point. It is a truism that the English are obsessed with social class. It remains such a fundamental force in how society operates that it's hard to avoid thinking about it. I think one notable difference in how social class operates in England as opposed to the USA is that one that is not necessarily or precisely equivalent to personal wealth. I have known extremely posh people who lived in poverty and very wealthy business owners who would have been deeply insulted if you described them as anything other than working class. At the same time, money does matter. You cannot buy elite status. In fact, you will be sneered at for trying, but that doesn't mean you have to give up on it. You can't buy elite status for yourself. You can buy it for your children, and the way you buy it is to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds sending them to a small number of private schools. Well, they will gain the social connections and cultural markers which mark them as belonging to the club. And that is like what this book is about.
100%. And I think that's one of the other reasons why I loved it was because when you've got that quartet of students, right? Nikki, Will, Matthias, and Anita. And I think it was really smart to just have at least having a whole bunch of like a larger class with a bunch of the kids just being in the background. I love the fact that she was like, no, we're just going to do 4 students. We can spotlight all of them and see what they're going on. And so as I like the minute they were introduced, I was like, I know these are my students. I know exactly, what's going on with these archetypes, even though like that does them a little bit of a disservice because they're really well fleshed out characters. But like up until recently, I happened to teach at a very, very STEM heavy, Marx focused, affluent school here in Ottawa. And even
what is Marx focused?
Oh, like everybody wants to get a 95 and go to Harvard.
Yeah. Marx,
oh, okay. Marx. Okay, Marx. Like grades.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. No, not
Marx.
Marx. No.
Yeah.
No.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess in America we say grades, not Marx.
Oh, grades. Yeah.
Right. So, I will say right off the bat, I did like this book. I felt like I would have appreciated it more if I, 1, ever interacted with kids, or 2, was British.
Yeah, fair.
But I felt kind of like I had my face pressed against a window and I was like looking in. I guess I was one of those sickos looking in at like the British people doing things.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lenore, did you feel similarly or?
Yeah. No, like I'm not a, I didn't go into teaching in this country because like the teaching field here is just abjectly difficult in terms of conditions faced by our educators. But like I really did appreciate how our teacher has, she has so many opportunities to go into like civil service, into like, working for the government. She's scouted by the Pentagon at one point. She has so many talents. I mean, her ex-girlfriend says like, why are you, rotting in a educational institution when you could be out in the world? And it's like, because like I genuinely love imparting knowledge to the next to younger generations. And I can't shut up. I'm a semi-professional yapper, like I love explaining things to people, and I love the dialogue inherent in that. So when I see her taking careful note of how like other teachers manage like greater volumes of students, their particular how they facilitate conversation and whatnot, like there is a genuine love for education here that, though I'm on the outside of, I very much appreciate the depiction of.
So do we want to frame the story up, Lenore? Do you want to do that?
Yeah. So we start off in Chetwood is the name of the magical school, and its director of magic is our protagonist. Her name is Sapphire Walden,
which is so fruity.
Such a good name, though.
No,
a white girl named Sapphire is just like really brutal.
Textually, yeah, it's pointed out that this is quite unusual for.
Yeah, I have known people named Sapphire, but they've all been black.
Oh, fair enough.
She's called Sapphy throughout.
Yeah.
Well, textually, the book mostly refers to her as Walden. Those close to her call her Sapphy. But
she calls herself Walden in her narration as well,
yes,
because she's a teacher. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and basically her job as director of magic is to keep a lid on demonic incursions, to make sure that the kids aren't inviting demonic incursions and like magical mishaps, because like as it happens in this world, harnessing magic is a discipline that you basically you tap into this demonic realm where there's all this wild magic around that you can shape, according to your will if you're a really practiced magician. But that also attracts and creates and results in demons, right? Just manifestations of magic in a roughly like sapient sort of shape, and they all want to get into our world and basically escape the sort of kill or be killed like environment of the demonic realm.
And they're attracted to like complexity.
Mhm.
So they're attracted to humans because we're complex systems. And then they're attracted to like technology. So you're not allowed to have a cell phone on campus because a demon might possess it, which is cute.
Complexity, and also like worth noting, identity. Right, like there's a very easy way to sort of punch a hole in between our world and the demonic world is to anthropomorphize something, right?
Mhm.
If I'm, if my phone's acting up and I'm like, God damn it, fucking work, why are you not working?
I would be so boned.
Yeah,
I talk to everything I own.
Yeah, if you refer to an inanimate object as you, especially a phone or like some other technological device, right? That is an opening for a demon to assert identity in this particular form.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fascinating to me. It's such a more dynamic and dialectical and interesting magic system than say J.K. Rowling's, right? Comparisons there too are inevitable, right?
Yeah.
And in that world, some people can just do magic,
Yeah, with Harry, like, not to have this just be the podcast where we shit talk Harry Potter, but of course it deserves it.
Yeah.
I always been like, okay, so if doing magic in Harry Potter is just swish and flick and then you say a word, what are they going to school for? Like, can't you learn that shit out of a textbook?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could get the swish and flick textbook. Like, so why are they like, we never really see like what they're studying. Like, what is the theory that you need to know in order to make Wingardium Leviosa work?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's always the thing I would think about. Even when I was like 12 reading, I was like, how does this work, Joanne?
Yeah, lay it on me. No, and that, like, that's the thing that I think that, again, to go back to the point about like the boring bits of the book is that you actually see Walden walk through these exercises with the kids in a way that I found, I'm a teacher, so I'm biased, but like I found fascinating to be like, she's directing these kids through this, like what is really arithmetic at the end of the day.
Right.
And arithmetic should be boring as shit, but
yeah, it's very like The Magician's math, the book The Magician's magic, because magic in that is just math.
Yeah.
And in the TV show, they do these really like intricate like things with their hands that look like they're doing like
the Naruto, like, jutsu.
Yeah, they do the Naruto jutsus. That's exactly. It's funny because I put my hand up and Shiloh immediately put her paw up. So It was really cute. I don't think she was copying me, but she doesn't know I exist. I'm so sad that Shiloh doesn't know I exist. I think about that every day. Anyway, yes. So we learn, the first section is like, learning about Walden's school, learning about like the demon in the photocopier. She's the director of magic, which I guess is like the principal.
That's one of the ones that I didn't quite like. I kept describing her when I was pitching this book to people as like an assistant dean, and then when I was reviewing it for this, I was like, "Oh no, wait, no, she's not. She's a director. What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah,
but she herself also teaches classes, like and very like specialized like classes. Like there's people like Father Ezekiel who teach like they have a more standard classes like what 20-25 kids or so. What she's doing is she's teaching very advanced, like, senior level.
She teaches A levels.
Yeah. A level, which is like, what are A levels? Is it like British SATs?
So A levels is actually, so in British listeners, please yell at me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think that technically school ends at 16, when you're 16 in the UK. And then you can go on to take something for 2 years called A levels, which you only take if you intend to go to university, I believe.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just get into the workforce.
Yeah.
Germany has something similar. Yeah, like you can go to like vocational school, or you can go to like more traditional like university, or just stop after high school.
Yeah. Yes. Or trade school or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that's what A levels is. We have no British expert on this show. Yeah, so she's teaching 4 A-level students. Brandon named them earlier. They're Matthias, who's like a nervous kid, who's very powerful, but like very not very like
he doesn't test well.
Yeah. Very unconfident. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Doesn't test well, gets very nervous, second guesses himself. Like there's a whole section where like she's grading his term paper and he did it right the first time and then got nervous and went back and changed it and then got nervous about that and then did something that was like halfway between and it just was like a 0. And I was like, no, I've done that.
Yep. Oh yeah. I've done it. I've seen it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got not Charlie. Charlie's the other one. Will.
Will, yeah, who's the kind of like your
rich boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Somebody he's fairly skilled. He can kind of coast. Yeah, he's not going to be like a top student, but he can definitely coast through with a solid like B+.
Yeah.
And his charisma and his class position, because he's fairly posh, can make up for the rest.
And I think it's interesting that Walden's take on Will, because he's like a posh kid, I guess, like he's like an upper class kid, is like, I can appreciate and laugh at Will because I am his teacher and not his peer. Yeah. He would really piss me off if I was his peer, which I think is interesting. Like, as long as I can tell him what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There will come a time perhaps when that, when I can't do that anymore, then I'm fine.
Yeah. And then there's Anita, who is like a pretty good student, but she's better at like non-magic subjects. Cause like in this school, they also learn like math and science and English, which I like, cause in Hogwarts, all them kids is stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, how do they even know to read?
It's like, and it's interesting. Not only is she more skilled at like more, quote unquote practical, like mundane sort of subjects, but like she's taking this, I think to fulfill a graduation requirement or something, but she's specifically chosen Walden's course because it's the hardest and least practical of the magical courses. Like if I'm, I majored in English, right? If I take like a pure math class, right? That's the same thing.
Yeah. And then there's Nikki, who is like a savant.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is like she is like a foster kid, but is like here on a scholarship and is just like, Walden is like, this kid is like a one in a generation. But also accidentally summoned a demon when she was a kid and killed her whole family.
Right. Once there's a sort of X-Men like tension here, where like these kids have to be trained up in their particular aptitudes for magic, but potentially are very, very dangerous, which is where our sort of deuteragonist lands on the subject. We have another person introduced in this first chapter here, Laura Kenning, who I saw a really unfair review of this, I think, who characterized her as like, just a like magical cop, right? And like didn't appreciate the book, like, having her be so sympathetic. But no, I would characterize her more as like a, more as like a knight, more as like a demon hunter, right? Like there is a very specific material magical threat that she's responding to, right? She's not just protecting, private property. She's not just a specially armed, agent of the state, right?
Right. Yeah. It kind of comes down to, I mean, I understand why someone might call her a magical cop, because they are like security guards that like watch the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the argument that you can make that I think are fair critiques of stuff. Like, for instance, I don't know if either of you have played Dragon Age, but in the game Dragon Age, they keep all of the mages confined because mages can summon demons at any time and destroy, the whole world. And that is kind of, I think people have a tendency to sometimes fairly be like, this is like saying that minority groups really are dangerous and we should keep them confined. And I'm like, yeah, but most minority groups don't have a demon in their head, right? I mean, like, to be fair, but yeah. So I get why the person would say that if they didn't think very deeply about if everything is an allegory, like everything is metaphor, which is not just that's not how fiction works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious because, like, I mean, to my read of it, and again, it's just me. Like, I don't think that Tesh shies away from that interpretation of Laura either. Like her and like Walden and Kenning don't get along. Part of it is because Walden doesn't want her in the classroom either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like, you guys have an important role, but stay the fuck away from my students is kind of her vibe.
Yeah.
So I think that like Tesh comments on that and is aware of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No, yeah, you are absolutely right. You know, the marshals, right? They're that's the force that Laura's a part of, right? They are a blunt instrument. You know, they're a blunt instrument that, you know, in Laura's, I think textually, like Laura says that, yeah, like if it were up to me, like I would destroy, you know, every demon, you know, everybody who communes with demons, right? Because of the, you know, objective danger that like the higher order demons represent, right? Like there's nothing you can do magically that you couldn't also do in a mundane fashion. So why bother, in her estimation?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, no, like this is, you know, Walden would respond that, you know, this is the way that certain people move through the world. We should be able to educate them to do this in a responsible fashion. Right.
Like, I think Kenning says, like, we should just shut the school down. And Walden is like, yeah, but that wouldn't stop demons from attacking these kids. Right. Like, they would just come get them where we can't defend them. Like, because magic teenagers really attract demons because they're very uncontrolled and, you know, produce a lot of magic. And another thing that Walden tells us repeatedly is that Kenning is really hot, so which really annoys her.
This is very important.
Yeah, described multiple times as a I think straight up at one point a butch avenging angel.
She's like stupid sexy Lauren.
This is like I have seen, I don't know if I think this is more like the book being like a victim of its own advertising / like what I sort of was led to expect here. Like when I read a book that is described on Goodreads, I believe, as like sapphic dark academia, right?
Yeah.
I expect there to be a little more like lesbian stuff in it.
Yeah.
Not that there is not, but like Laura Kenning, who is the love interest, spoiler alert, disappears for like 70% of the book approximately.
Yeah.
But when she's there, it's a masterclass in yearning.
She got a similar, actually, like, so this is the thing that I like listeners. This is the thing about me, and I've held off on saying it until now because, like, I think it's an unpopular opinion, but I hate the word sapphic. I think it's twee, and I think I hate when people describe me as sapphic, and I hate when people describe my work as sapphic. Okay. It is a really like it's a term that I had never seen used except for like twee marketing copy, and I feel like it's totally legit for a lesbian to want to call herself sapphic. I think that's totally fine. I just hate when it gets used. I just don't like it as a concept. And I just say lesbian. But so I sort of like reading like it in the summary, like a sapphic, that I was like, but yeah, I think that it is marketing fully.
Yeah.
Also, I think that this has happened to Emily Tesh before because Silver in the Wood is sort of like it was called like a gay romance, like an MM romance, and there is an MM like two men who get together in it, but that's like not the focus of the book. And then in the sequel, they're not together. Like it just doesn't concern their relationship, and people really hated that. And I think that this happens to a lot of writers who write about queer people, because then the publishers are like, we're going to have to tell, this is a gay book for gay people about gay stuff. And that happens, I think, all the time.
Yeah.
So yes, I do think it was, marketing entirely that is sort of like, because I would say this is a more like it's not hard fantasy. That sounds so much dirtier than like hard sci-fi, but this is a very like this is like, if you like lore and charts, this is a
Yeah.
lore and charts book.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally forgot that it gets that it was, even though it's right around the back cover, I forgot about that it gets described as a sapphic book, because I wouldn't consider it a sapphic book. I don't think
Yeah.
to me, like, for exactly the reason you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's a lore and numbers book. I like that.
Well, and also, like, there is the relationships between people, like romantic, platonic, and otherwise.
Yeah.
Like Safi has an ex over in America that is just like living her best life, that visits her at one point. They catch up, right? She fakes book stalks Laura Kenning at one point, Instagram stalks, like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
She has for a big chunk of the book, she has, I envision this dude as like Martin Freeman that she just kind of hooks up with.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And like it's
like Hugh Grant.
Or that too.
Like,
maybe a little younger than Hugh Grant, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant from like Love Actually.
Yes. Yeah. That
had
vibe, yeah.
Fuck, the guy from who was in Wicked and the most recent Jurassic World, and I keep forgetting.
I know exactly the guy, the brother from Bridgerton.
Yeah. That's who I was picturing.
Yeah, the gay one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the relationships are not like so foregrounded, like she's hooking up with the dude literally to blow off steam. She says multiple times that he's kind of an asshole, but like, he's good in bed, and that fulfills a purpose, right? It's you have so much more going on in your life than the people with whom you're intimate, and that's real. That intrigues me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
So I guess we should. So it starts with her doing like a practical, like, which is, I guess, like a hands-on class, like just like a lot of like British academic words that I don't really know, that we don't really use here. I think in Canada you guys use way more Britishisms than we do.
Yeah, like that was like I even though our system is very different, I was able to follow most of it, because it is very similar in terms of how we discuss education.
Well, y'all are part of the Commonwealth. Yeah.
For better or worse.
So they're doing a practical, and they're literally supposed to, her 4 students are going to summon a demon into the class, into the laboratory. And they do that, and then I think Matthias fucks up because Will like he just goes like, wow, like, or something, like in response, and he's like, he gets so shaken by just like Will just saying like one mean thing that he accidentally summons like this like 12th order demon that lurks in the shadow of the school they call Old Faithful, and it almost eats all of them.
Yeah, goes bad real quick, which is like for every teacher's worst nightmare is like, we're going to do this fun field trip and nothing's going to go bad, and then
Jimmy immediately falls into the river.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, well, now you can't ever do that trip again.
Yeah, it's not a fun field trip anymore. It's the Jimmy's in the river field trip.
No, and it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
And Walden is, worth noting. She's not like a disciplinarian, right? She knows when students know when they've fucked up, right? And it's much more effective to walk them through the the why and the how of it. I have an excerpt here. Let me see. Always difficult to tell off a year 13, and particularly difficult to tell off someone like Will, who, as well as being unshakably self-confident, was more than a foot taller than Walden.
Yes.
Scolding was much easier when you could loom a little, but short of magical cheating, Walden could not physically intimidate someone who was 6'3". She knew how to make her tone of voice make up the difference, though. Do you know why I want to speak to you?
Yeah. The teacher voice.
Such a good question. Do you know why? Yeah.
Yeah. You know why you're here? Yeah. So, she has to get rid of Old Faithful. I think Laura Kenning runs in at the last second and kind of helps, and then is like, what the fuck is that demon? And she's like, oh, that's just Old Faithful. He's always here.
Yeah,
and Laura's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's that thing of like, the devil, right? Because it's been around since like the 1600s at least. There's a bit where they go back through the archives of the school, and there's a headmaster from like the 1600s who was like, oh yeah, this thing came and like ate a couple of dudes. It was pretty wild, right?
Yeah. And the last time there was an incursion of Old Faithful, we are told, was in 2003, and a student died.
Yeah.
We learn
Mm-hmm.
here. So then I guess the next big thing that happens is Nikki, Old Faithful, because demons can whisper into your mind, and Old Faithful is whispering into Nikki, the really incredibly gifted student, that he is the demon that killed her parents. So she and Matthias are like, we're going to summon this demon and kill it. And they do, and it doesn't go well. And it triggers like a full-blown incursion, as they call, where like hell starts seeping into real life. And it's very cool, actually, like the way that it's portrayed.
Yeah, when they have to go through I can't remember the name of the residence building where that they have to go through, but it's all twisted. It reminded me, actually, you mentioned Dragon Age. It reminded me a lot of going into the Fade. And
Oh yeah, it is. The demon realm is very much like the Fade, I think. It sounds like,
yeah,
or the astral plane. I
yeah,
don't know.
right, exactly. Yeah.
So eventually she finds, when Walden goes in to rescue these students, and basically like what the marshals say is like, they're dead. Don't go in there. We're just going to collapse the incursion, they call it, which will just kill everybody inside it. But Walden's like, no, I have to try to get my students out. If I'm not back in 2 hours, just collapse the incursion. Leave me to die, whatever. And she runs in and she finds the kids, but she also finds a 18-year-old boy in there named Charlie, who is her the kid. She finds the kid who died in 2003, who, surprise, it was her boyfriend when she was 18, and she was one of the kids who summoned the demon in 2003.
Yep.
Just for fun. Like, it wasn't even because like her parents died. It was because she thought she could do it, which I thought was really interesting. Like, she did a way worse thing than Nikki did, and she didn't beat herself up for it in the way that Nikki does.
Right. Thematically speaking, there's a thread that runs through this book of, okay, like, you can have incredible expertise, you can have incredibly deep knowledge in your field, but sometimes that sets you on a path that gives you blind spots, right? And that's what outsiders like, Laura Kenning, they have their own perspective that, you can draw on and, meet somewhere in the middle to find a solution, right? And sometimes they need to just bail you out, as Laura does here.
Right. Laura comes and helps fight Old Faithful, because Old Faithful has possessed her ex-boyfriend, not ex-boyfriend, dead boyfriend Charlie, and he has possessed his corpse. And here we also find out that Walden has a phoenix demon in her arm as a tattoo, which was like so metal. I was like, that's the most lesbian thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, she went to like the United States and like she found a demon in like the American Southwest that's like it manifests as a phoenix, and some guy in San Francisco, I think, like helped her, like it tattooed on her skin like basically like this prison for the phoenix, like so it lives in her, like she can let it
It's
out.
not even a prison though, it's just kind of like a border, because it was like it consented to be on her arm.
Yeah, that's yeah. Demons are patient. It's like, I can wait. It's all good.
Yeah. And so also the demon starts talking to her.
Yes.
And it starts like critiquing her form.
Yes. Which is one of which when that turn happens, the thing that I think is worth noting is like, this is like the first third of the book or something.
Yeah.
Like this whole sequence could be a book in and of itself. Really.
Yeah.
But
It happened really fast. Yeah.
Yeah. But because the whole book, it takes place over the course of a school year, I think, if I remember correctly. And a whole bunch of shit happens, which makes sense in an 8 or 10 month period. But so you get through all this stuff in the first third, and then like when the Phoenix starts critiquing her and starts talking to Walden, that from that point forward, I absolutely adored it, because I think one of the threads for Walden throughout the entire book, that's a really compelling part of her character, is her ego, which she won't admit, like how much her ego affects her, but it totally does. And the Phoenix starts poking at that immediately, because right.
So yeah, Walden is a very specific type of, and so like the portrayal of Walden at first, I was kind of like, okay, is this a person supposed to be insufferable?
Mm.
The answer is yes. And I'm glad the answer was yes.
Yeah.
Because like she is a very specific kind of white lady.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean that was intentional. I learned by the end of the book. But like this very specific person who like the sort of middle class white person who is always checking their privilege, but like not in a way that actually matters.
Yeah.
Like how she'll keep being like, well, of course, you know, I was given all of these advantages, and it's like, cool. It just sounds like you're bragging.
Yeah, there's a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So they manage to get everyone out of the incursion, and they get back safe, and they kill Old Faithful. The Phoenix kills Old Faithful. And after that, it's sort of like, okay, there needs to be like, you know, I guess an inquiry into what happened.
Yeah.
And Laura Kenning loses her job. She falls on the sword basically because it was going to either be Walden or Kenning.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenning's like, it's fine. I don't even like your fucking stupid students anyway. I'm leaving. And we learn like they go to a pub that's like sort of a date, and Kenning is like, yeah, I fucking hate this posh bullshit. Like why do you live in a fucking castle? That shit sucks.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I kind of like it. Walden's like, our institutions.
Yeah, it's important. That whole not quite a date is so like, I think it's one of my favorite parts of the book because it's at equal times incredibly cute and incredibly frustrating, and Lenore, to one of your points from earlier, incredibly real as well. That's the thing I love about the two of them, is just how incredibly real that the whole journey for the two of them feels. So that by the, you know, without spoiling anything, by the end, you know, where they end up, I think feels very earned too, and this it's partly because of how badly this date goes.
Right. It's two people that are like very, very, very secure in their identity and their career, and who, you know, again, they have other things going on in their professional lives than, you know, intimacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when they do, you know, when they do encounter each other, when they do encounter people for whom they have such, you know, mutual professional respect, right? It's much easier for them to lay out, okay, well, like, I have this particular niche in my life that I like to slot in, you know, intimate partners, right? Is this what you're looking for? You know, there's a much clearer sort of negotiation going on, quite apart from the yearning, which, you know, certainly has its place.
Yes.
Yeah. It also is very like, I found it relatable in that like I'm 37 and like this character Walden is 38. So like the things that she's describing sort of, and I am married. I have a partner, but I also like the sort of like the difficulty that she describes of like doing new stuff in an already very like packed life. And you're like, sorry, I can pencil that in 6 months from now, sort of vibe. I was like, I have to do 4 podcasts this week. Excuse me. Yeah, I have 2 podcasts. But yeah, so she leaves, and they, of course, I loved that so they're like, okay, what the school board is, or not the school board, but like the school, the guys who are in charge of the school, they have that in the UK, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, I they call it in the book, but it's not like, it's like a board of trustees or something.
Yeah, just some rich people that own the school, run the school.
Parents can't pour some crap on.
Yeah, the administration, I guess, are like, okay, we like, give us like a report of where our security went wrong. So of course they compile a really good report that's like, you need to do all of this shit. And they're like, that looks expensive. What if we just hire a consultant? This is such a type of guy. If I can share his first appearance here. The man at the far end of the table gave a charming, faintly embarrassed smile and a little wave. He had been introduced at the start of the meeting as a representative of the school's wider community, a phrase so vague it can mean absolutely anything. His expression now seems to say, sorry about that, bit of light skullduggery. He was a white man with conservatively cut curly hair, a slight tan of the just-got-back-from-Provence variety, and the faintly ageless look of a person who had always been good-looking and was now committed to maintaining it. Walden guessed he was in his 40s, but equally he could have been mid-30s and outdoorsy, or mid-50s with some light plastic surgery. He was wearing a very good suit with a shirt open at the collar. No tie, no wedding ring. She like signs him up immediately.
Yeah.
Like it's very bisexual of her.
Yeah.
Which she is. Like she even tells people, they're like, "Oh, I thought you were a lesbian." She's like, "No, I'm not." And yeah, so this is Mark Daubery, and he is a consultant, and he works with the government, we're told. He's also Will, one of her students, the posh student's uncle.
Yeah.
And she immediately is like, okay, this guy's a posh dickhead, but he is hot and very charming. And I actually really like what the book does with her and Mark, because she completely falls for it while telling herself that she will never fall for it.
Yeah.
Like she lets her preconceptions, like her own ego of feeling superior to this guy, really fucks her, which I thought was really interesting. I at first I mean, like, you know, when a piece of media is wokely does like women good, men bad, even though it's true. No offense, present company excluded, of course.
Men taken guys are awful. I apologize all the time.
I always roll my eyes in the same way that I roll my eyes when, like, sometimes there's things that are like, this is for lesbians. And I'm like, shut up. You don't know what I like. Like, so I was ready to roll my eyes at this, but then it actually, the way it actually shakes out completely saved it for me. So that complaint is taken off my list of complaints.
Yeah. No, I had the same reaction. I was worried that it was going to be, as much as I agree, like that I was worried it was going to be almost too cliche. I don't know if cliche is the right word, but like, so I had this, and then their interactions just were delightful. And again, so
that is another issue, I think, with how realistically these characters are written, because Laura seems like a way better hang and like a way chiller person, but she's, for me, a far more boring character than Mark. Like, I liked watching Walden interact with Mark. I like dickheads. Like, I love annoying guy characters. He reminded me of my favorite character to write from Life is Strange Double Exposure, Vin, who is also a dickhead. And yeah, I like characters like that, but I also think that just because of the nature of this character, just the interactions between them, and also he was in the book way more than Laura was.
I was about to say, Laura really doesn't have a lot to do, like, you know, except for almost every time we see her, she's coming in and saving the day, and it's like, I want to. And Walden like takes you know, very special explicit notice of the ways in which Laura is, you know, very skilled at identifying threats and conducting herself in physical combat, right? And you want to see more of that, but like, you know, conversely, like, when she's with Mark and she's like, okay, well, you know, I want to get the measure of this guy. Is he just a suit? No, like, he's actually, you know, he's a competent magician in his own right. And you know, just personality wise, is he a dickhead? Sure. But he's also like genuinely disarming.
Yeah. He's entertaining, charming, of course. And you can tell that she's being charmed, and she knows it too. Like, she's like, I can tell what this guy is doing. She, though, just thinks he wants to fuck her.
Yes.
And that's all she thinks he's doing, which he does probably, but also, which is, I think, very interesting, that how he like honey traps her. But basically, like, the next part of the book is like a lot of like exam prep, like a lot of like academic minutia, and also more and more incursions happening kind of out of nowhere. And Walden is like, how does this keep happening? She even goes into like, there's like a Christmas party in London where there is an incursion, and this like is not a thing that can happen like in downtown in a city, and she has to fight the demons off with the Phoenix. And she's like, what is going on? There needs to be something. And of course, at that point, I'm like, obviously it's this guy you're hanging with who runs off every time there's trouble. Every time there's a demon, she's like, where's Mark?
Yeah, he's gone.
That is the one thing. Like, I think part of what made the second act of this book drag so much for me is that, like, he's, you know, I'm struggling to come up with an analog in, like, there's a million movies out there where you see this like bureaucrat character from the government or whatever, whose like job is to, keep tabs on the heroes and to, eventually like set things up to fuck them, right? And it's like, okay, that's obviously what Mark is here to do. When is he going to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the way that she gets with him, though, is she decides to sleep with him because Kenning specifically is like, you shouldn't fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And she's like, fuck you specifically. I'm going to go do it right now, which I feel like is a really terrible / great reason to have sex with someone.
Yes.
Like bad reason in real life, great reason narratively.
Yes. Yeah.
So her and Mark just start casually hooking up, and she's always telling herself because she also like fervently tells us how beneath her she thinks he is, specifically because he's a rich guy and has a high class status. So it is very like, even though but we also know that she's like upper middle class.
Yeah,
and she grew up she went to Oxford also.
Yes.
Like he went to Cambridge. She went to Oxford.
By the Pentagon, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. It's not like she grew up the way Nikki grew up. Like they're kind of a couple, two different worlds, other than having very similar experiences in a couple of key points, right?
Right. But it also, I think it is that like British class signifier. He is like upper class.
Yes.
And even if she is, if her parents were wealthy and she went to an upper class school, I don't think that she's not like posh.
Yeah.
And to me, that like would completely go over my head if I hadn't like watched a ton of British TV, probably. Yeah. But like, so another big incursion happens. And specifically also the Phoenix has been calling Mark dangerous when she's with him. And it's like, come on, girly. She's just too dickmatized, I guess. And eventually she's like, oh fuck, it's fucking Mark, isn't he? Yeah, he's letting all these demons in. Yeah. Like, obviously.
Yeah. So this is like over the course of months, I think, right? That before she figures out. Yeah. Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens where like Nikki is like, I'm not going to go to Oxford because I don't deserve it, because I did this horrible thing. I don't think I'm a good person. Yeah. And then Walden calls her in and is like, I did the same thing. And I actually really like this because the book doesn't spell it out. And this is another critique I have of the book that I can get into more, but I think it kind of says a bunch of stuff in plain text that I think it could have just left as allegory. I do kind of see an editor kind of in her ear being like, you have to explain the themes of the book or nobody's going to get it.
Yeah, I had exactly the same thought. Yeah.
But Walden never like explicitly says to Nikki, you're blaming yourself and taking on all this responsibility for something that I never considered doing. And that is because of the differences in our class. And also Nikki is Black. So like in our sort, in like the racial dynamics too. And I thought that was interesting, like that, because of like how they see themselves, Nikki blames herself and Walden is just like, oh, it's a bad thing that happened to me. Oh, also, I guess like her ex-girlfriend comes to visit. Right. The American Roz.
Yeah, the ex-girlfriend
who sounds hot.
Yeah, and whose wife sounds even hotter.
Yeah. And they're and the really interesting thing about Roz is that she works for doesn't she work for the Pentagon? Like she works for the government.
Yeah,
and I think that this is a very interesting thing that I have heard POC say. And it is, well, somebody is going to work for the baby killing machine. Why does it have to be the white guys? Why can't I get the bag? And I love that because it's kind of hard to argue with, but also it does not pass the smell test to me. Like I have heard people, like people of color, queer people say this, like that basically like sums up to, why do I have to leave? He's the one who sucks, kind of like, why can't I participate in imperialism? Why can't I do an imperialism? White people get to do an imperialism, and I get where that impulse comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing to bring up, and I also think it's interesting that that Tesh doesn't really tell us what we're supposed to think about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because Roz is very much a side character, right? Like she's there and then she's
Mhm.
gone, and so there's all these little nuggets of, this is the way. Like these are things that are going on in this world that are that are analogous things that are happening in our world, and so yeah, it's just let's immerse ourselves in what's happening and then draw whatever conclusions you want. I think runs through the entire book.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a double sort of it's a double sort of contradiction at play here, where like, yeah, she's the one that got away, who is now living her best life.
Yeah.
You know, and B, sometimes like that dynamic of going to work for the baby killing machine, sometimes it works out. Like that's the temptation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, a really great way to make money is to go work for evil corporation. That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
great way to make money. That's why people do it. Like,
No, that's it. Right? Like the number of times I've joked in our industry with somebody about, like, if Disney ever came knocking, if the mouse was ever going to hand me a bunch of money to write a thing, I'd probably take it. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, I feel like our generation is like the concept of like selling out
yeah,
used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like the Gen X was really obsessed with selling out.
very much so.
But I think that like millennials and Gen Z, we're like, I can't wait to sell out. Like I'm so broke.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
please give me that money, and then I'll spend it on some solar panels or something. Like I think.
Yeah, right. That is like very, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. So Walden realizes that Mark has been doing all these demon incursions, and she finds out that it's entirely to get the Phoenix to come out. He's interested in the Phoenix, not her.
Nope.
And he's tricked her basically by just because of her. And this is the thing I really liked. It's just like her hubris and like just thinking of this guy as like a pretty face and just like a charming like set of like just like this facade that he is not actually extremely skilled, and that like she's like, oh, he's just a rake who wants to have sex with me, and it's like, sorry, no, your pussy is not that poppin'. He really just wanted to get close to the Phoenix and to be close to the spells that destroy. Like he needed to get into her apartment.
Yes,
literally.
Yeah, because to get that's right.
Yeah, get into her apartment, fuck with the thalmic engines that are like keeping the magical shield around the school, or keeping the veil in place between the worlds, essentially. Weaken that a little bit so that like the Phoenix can actually like break free to assert control.
Right. And she goes to face him herself, which was stupid.
Yeah.
She's like, I should have just fucking called the police. But that's sort of impulse. You're like, am I right? What if I'm wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't want to be a bother to anybody.
Which is
I guess like the most British way to be defeated.
Yeah,
it's also very Canadian. We're also like that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and when she finds out what he's been doing, I think like because she's so angry that he's been endangering the children, but also because her ego has just been so fractured that she literally lets the Phoenix take over her body. She lets it possess her to destroy him. And then we get like the third act, which is very brief, but it's like the Phoenix has taken over the school.
Yeah, and the whole the POV changes and the tense changes and in a way that like normally like when with like tense and point of view and book format like takes a sudden kind of right turn like that, it usually throws me out of the story, but in this case it didn't. I was like, okay, let me live in the Phoenix for a little bit. I want to see what it's thinking.
And the Phoenix is just one of those like lifestyle influencers. The Phoenix is looks maxing.
It's having a ball until it starts to actually give a shit, which I also thought was really cool.
Yeah.
You take another bite of the poached egg and spinach on homemade sourdough you fixed yourself before you sat down, and ignore her being Walden. I can't believe you bake your own bread, she says. She's obviously just jealous. You are so much better at being her than she ever was.
Yeah, she like she takes Walden's body running and stuff. She like makes her work out, which is great.
Better work-life balance than Walden.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But also the whole school is under the Phoenix's spell. So they're all like kind of not trapped there, but like they all, when they're on campus, they all are just like, everybody's like sort of been turned into like worker drones a little bit.
Yeah, they can't quite see what's going on, and it's like everything needs to be like. I get a very efficiency vibe. Everything's going to work the way that it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
yeah,
right. And then the only people who notice that she's acting weird are her 4 students,
which is delightful.
Yeah, because
and
nobody else knows her.
Well, that's it, right? And there's a like, again, as someone who really understands the education system, right? Like people assume that students don't notice shit, B don't care, and let's be honest, a lot of them don't notice anything and don't care. But there's the occasional student who is actually kind of with it and like sees the adults around them as actual people, and that's these 4. Like, so they know her well enough to be like, oh no, something's up, and we're not just going to ignore it. We're going to actually poke at it and then save the day, essentially.
Right. So they try to like tell an adult, but all of the adults on campus just like act like they can't hear them. Yeah, exactly. Because of the spell of the Phoenix. So they have to go off campus and get Laura. Because Walden swore an oath to Laura and was like, if I'm ever possessed, I give you permission to kill my ass. Which is also a really lesbian thing to say.
Oh, yeah.
I say that to my wife every day.
If there were a zombie outbreak and I was a zombie.
Yeah. You could eat, I would eat your brains. Just like I tell my cats, if I die, they can eat me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, my wife and I, no, we don't have that. Save me.
A little, she's like, I want to eat.
Yeah. There's a fascinating syncretism here as well between the Phoenix and Walden here. That ultimately is what helps save. It is what leaves that opening open for the students to break this thing. Like, children are only children; they are not part of your territory. You do not rule them, right?
Yeah.
She has a very specific role. But the staff are another matter. It says, right? Because she has, again, she is a creature of systems. She is a creature of, not that she's a total martinet, but like she knows how these things work and how to set these things up, that like, okay, in the best of possible worlds, this is how the staff would run things and report things and keep the school going.
Yeah, exactly.
The unpredictable element is the students, just by design.
Right. So Laura attacks her and they fight. It's pretty cool. Like they do, a big battle or whatever. And eventually Walden gets like wrestles her way out of like the depths of the Phoenix's psyche to be like, cut my arm off.
Yeah.
So she gets her right arm chopped off.
Which is also pretty bad.
Now she literally has lost her ability to do any of the stuff that she has built her entire personality and life on.
It's her dominant arm. She has to learn to write with her other one.
She's been disarmed, you could say. Yeah. Right. So she ends up in the hospital and they're like, yeah, you probably should resign after, that thing you did.
Yeah. Not a bad idea.
Yeah. Right. So also like the Phoenix was keeping Mark Daubery like alive in this horrible like hell stasis and like drawing power from him.
Yeah. What did you think of that? Because I was when I found out that he wasn't actually toast, I was like, okay.
I mean, I thought that was kind of metal. The fact that nobody on campus remembered who he was while that was happening was really dark.
Yeah.
They obliterated that twink or whatever.
For a moment there, because I was listening to the audiobook, right? So there was an extra sort of semi-separation from the for a minute there, like I was like, okay, so did he ever exist in the first place? Like, was he some kind of like mimetic like virus on people's, but no, like in fact, Will does talk about his uncle. I was re-listening to it earlier today. He does talk about his uncle early on. He does actually exist, right? He's just been he's just been written out of this reality in this little bubble the Phoenix has created, and yeah, is being used as a battery basically, which is for somebody who is doing this stuff, who as the top, like as the top cop, the top marshal says, like, yeah, this guy has a history of doing these magical experiments, and like we've never been able to pin anything on him until now, right? Eventually, like, it makes sense that it would bite back and get him, and he would have no recourse to anybody but himself.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Also, like, it's implied that he probably though works for the government, and he's just going to get off of this because he's probably a spy or something like that.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, that's why I want a sequel to this, right? How deep does this shit run?
Yeah. His magical, like, James Bond MI6 type shit. Right. So then at the very end, Laura and Walden's like, well, teaching's not my personality anymore. I think I'll make you my whole personality. That's gonna work out really good. A classic.
As one does. Yeah.
So it's a nice little book. I think that it is definitely like for a specific type of person.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if you don't want to read about academic minutia, then probably not for you.
Yeah.
It didn't like blow my mind or anything. But I enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, it's a fun story about how institutions have regulations. They have processes. They have infrastrucures that are set up, and sometimes there are blind spots in the edifice that need to be rejiggered and and adjusted. And sometimes you don't learn about these things until they're too late, right?
Yeah.
This was the problem, of course, with staking your personal and professional identity entirely on being fantastically clever, says the book. It made it much harder to keep control when it turned out you weren't.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Yeah. The classic making your job your life, so that when you lose it, feels like you've died.
Yeah.
Fun. I recommend her novellas. I think they're also fun.
Yeah, I gotta check those out. But I'm glad you both dug this. I agree. Like, this is definitely, again, I don't, if I wasn't a teacher myself, I don't know how much I would have dug this book. But like it fits that we have a panel hopefully planned for this year's CanCon that's literally about it's okay if your book is only for a small number of readers. That's fine. And it feels like it like a book that could be used there.
Yeah, the biggest gripes I had with it, I think the book kind of put a bow on at the end, like the thing about like, this is kind of basic that Mark is the bad guy, but then it was in an interesting way. I still kind of wish Laura was a little more interesting. She didn't really, I didn't really care about her that much.
Yeah, fair enough.
And again, it did feel like there was an editor in Tesh's ear being like, you have to have Walden constantly checking her privilege like she's on Twitter. Like, she kept explaining, she just kept explaining the themes, and I was like, no, girl, I got you. You don't have to explain them to me.
Yeah. There's a bit toward the end where like she's having that sit down with Nikki, and it was I did ask this in the chat, Aisha. I was like, okay, so what is this even about exactly? Like at this point, right? Because there's so much structurally of the book that I don't know, that it throws off the pacing a little bit for me. That we know so early that Charlie, that the corpse puppet that Old Faithful is using, is Safi's boyfriend.
Yeah,
like that particular arc of hers feels like it resolves a little bit early for what we get later. Like
that's a good point.
It should be. It should be a failure. It should be a weak point of hers that's hanging over her head a little more explicitly, because it's not like we don't get a blind spot of hers, but like in the form of Mark, right? But it does feel a little bit too neat, right?
Yeah. Also, we talked about this a little also in the server, that like, so one of the things I said on the use of weapons episode a couple weeks ago was, this book is not about anything. Like,
Mm.
that's what I said about use of weapons. I was like, there's so much in this book, and it's not about anything. And I think the opposite is true of the Incandescent. I think the Incandescent is about too many things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that it could have benefited from a little bit more focus.
Yeah.
But also, I understand that she is trying to do something with this book, and she doesn't like writing sequels. And so you got to get it all in the book.
Yeah.
And I think it's reviewed well. It seems very popular, and I think that Forrest, definitely, I think it's a good book. I just. Yeah, I kind of wish that certain things had been more prominent.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just personal.
The relationship with the students, for one thing, right? There's it's cool to see at the end, like, they send her the card in the when she's in the hospital, and like they whatever their friction, right? They acknowledge that she's an enormously positive and formative influence on them, and like They solve the mystery. They get to Laura like right at the end. There's just they're a little too in the background in the second act of the book.
Very much so, yeah. Yeah. What is it? It's like there's almost like 2, maybe even 3 books all together here that like could have been novellas. So it's interesting again that like Tesh's previous books are novellas.
It's interesting you say that, because I know that she has talked about in an interview, she's talked about how she was very inspired by Naomi Novik's A Deadly Education for this book.
Yeah.
And I think that Naomi Novik's books also feel like they're 3 books. Like, so many things happen in that woman's books. And I like her books, but I'm always like, girl, this is the opposite of this could have been an email. Yeah. This could have been an encyclopedia. Like, so yeah, it does feel like a couple books, but this
is one of those rare ones that, like, instead of a 400-page book, it would have been incredible as an 800-page book,
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's rare. Yeah. Because I all the time, part of the reason why I read so little fantasy, especially epic fantasy these days, is because I count the chapters. Like, you could have done away with this chapter. This chapter doesn't need to be here. Shortened by about 300 words. Yeah. Certain publishers who shall remain nameless. But yeah, no, you're right. This could have been a little longer in that respect. That's a good idea.
Cool. So, Brandon, are you online at all? Is there anything people should check out?
Fuck, I wish I wasn't. Yeah. So my website is, I would say, is the best spot to find out what I'm up to. It's just brandoncrilly.com. I'm nominally on Blue Sky and Instagram, but it's just for announcements. And then on the games writing side, I'm on Itch relatively recently, and putting out stuff on there for Draw Steel is my newest thing. So if you're an Itch person, you can find me there.
Also, listeners, we're spinning up, I guess, Aisha's Author Corner, where I'm going to talk to authors, and we're going to have it as a Patreon bonus about authors that we have on the pod. We're going to have like a brief little interview section where I talk to them about their work, and then anything else they just want to talking about them rather than about the book that we were talking about. So if any of you want to hear Brandon's little interview, that is going to be on Patreon at some point. I still haven't figured out the schedule.
At some point, I think is the best.
Because Article Brain is coming out on Friday,
Brain, yes. So, of course, we are recording this on a Wednesday. It goes up on the following Monday, by which time the first Article Brain should be released. That is going to be a recurring Patreon thing now. It's me and Jacob for the first one, driving each other insane with the worst articles that we can find, of course. I give him the review of the Odyssey. That's a conservative paper in noted race science journal, the National Review. And he gives me the New York Times latest take on, here's why, being gay is okay in the Bible, but being trans is not, right?
Oh my God.
Oh, classic. Oh, a classic. Yeah. We all know that verse from the Bible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So,
that sounds incredible.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad that we sort of and cap it off with that one, because my pick, the anti-woke take on the Odyssey is definitely more to fuck with Jacob, since he's the only one of us who's seen in the movie.
Yeah. I am not gonna go sit down in a movie theater for 3 hours for Chris fucking Nolan.
That was kind of my thought. That's again what you and Jacob are doing. It sounds like, have you guys seen? I think it's at the end of the year, in a calendar year. SNL, Michael Che and Colin Jost, they write jokes for each other. Have you ever seen this?
Oh, yes.
That this is giving me the same sort of vibes. This sounds delightful.
Oh,
The two
hell
of you
yeah.
doing these articles.
Well,
yeah, that's always really funny because of the stuff that Michael Che makes him say.
So bad.
Well, and it's me and Jacob, like, for the first one, but Aisha or Jen, like, I might scout either one of y'all, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to read articles. I got so many articles saved up. Yeah, better excuse to when I see a bad article, just download it.
Nice.
All right, so what are you all doing next week, Lenore?
I'm glad you asked. Our vice president has a new book out.
Oh, right, I'm on this one too. Jesus.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's called Communion, Finding My Way Back to Faith, I think that's the subhead. Yeah, it's J.D. Vance talking about how, like, he loves being Catholic, but, like, getting really Congregationalist with it for some reason.
Yeah, and it's just going to be two Catholic bitches telling each other exactly, because we're getting AJ on for that one. AJ of the Worst of All Possible Worlds, my fellow papist. So yeah, look forward to that. Yeah, I have to email him. I have to email him. I've never emailed AJ.
Aisha, I strongly advise you not to listen to the audiobook of Communion because J.D. Vance narrates that one as well.
No, oh God, I cannot listen to that man's
I
voice.
listened to Hillbilly Elegy on a like cross-state like road trip, and he is so flat and devoid of affect in his voice. I nearly drove off the road several times.
Holy God!
Just to end it all.
Oh my God! Inflicting this on yourselves, Jesus.
Yeah, we love to do it. Well, Brandon, thank you so much. It was such a delight to have you on. Thank you for bringing us this book.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. No, thank you for introducing me to and what was her space opera one again?
Some Desperate Glory.
I got to move that up my list. I'm so excited.
Yes. So, yes, Lenore, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Well, it takes all kinds to run a magical school, to run a society, There's a reason that we're not run solely by teachers. There's a reason that we're definitely not run solely by cops. Debatable in this country. But you need several perspectives and areas of expertise to, interlock and to figure out how best to keep the demons out,
Yeah, feed your demons cookies, not blood.
Yes.
That's it.
Bye, listeners.
Pages upon pages, words of wisdom from other workers' brow. Got my nose to the spine, nose soaking up all the wisdom of their will allow. The workers' tongues and stories, how we want to know every right we enjoy. Away from the lights, away from the noise, we can rebuild everything they destroy. Workers need a workers' dream, power of the union and the socialist dream. Everything I can need, oh I need, oh I need, oh I need, oh the workers need. The more I get, oh the more I need. Head in the books, so my mind is free. Diving in with everyone in mind, on my mind, oh a rally of all kinds. Cross the class, so we share and we show how we win, knowing how we know. No, but when we're together, we're tired of working lean and eating pro. Working lean, oh, workers